10 R&B groups made the hardest decision in music. They let go of the voice everybody came to hear, fired them, buried them, watched them walk out the door, and then they handed the microphone to somebody else and said, "Sing." Some of those replacements failed quietly, and some of them, I'm not exaggerating, took the group higher than the Starr ever did. You know these songs. You've been singing them your whole life. You just never knew who was actually singing them.
Part of my life wasn't very pretty. See, I was born and raised.
Number 10, the Platters. Here's a man who was hired to be the lead singer of one of the biggest groups in America, and then his own record label refused to let anyone hear him.
Baby, I love you. You know.
Tony Williams was the voice. Only You, The Great Pretender, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. That aching, church-trained tenor floating over those harmonies, that was the sound of American love songs in the 50s.
Every time I write a letter, I think of you, baby, I do.
And if you've ever slow danced at a wedding reception to Only You, you weren't dancing to the Platters. Not really. You were dancing to Tony Williams. By 1959, he was fighting with management over money. He left formally in 1960, and he had to go to court to do it. Enter a young singer from Cleveland named Sonny Turner. He'd been opening for Red Fox at a local club when a DJ asked if he wanted to audition. He was picked out of around 100 hopefuls. 100. And he got it. Then Mercury Records said no. I'm serious. The label flat out refused to release a Platters record with Sonny Turner singing lead. Instead, they went into the vault and kept issuing old Tony Williams recordings for about 2 years, while the actual living, breathing lead singer of the Platters sat there. Employed, unheard. Their manager, Buck Ram, who happened to be a trained lawyer, had to fight it. Think about that for a second. You get the biggest job in music, and the response is, "We'd rather use a dead file than your throat." Turner didn't get his moment until 1966 with I Love You 1,000 Times, and then with This Ring in 1967.
I felt just like a fool.
6-7 years of waiting to be heard. And if you've ever done the work and watched somebody else's name stay on it, you know exactly what that silence sounds like. Number 9, the Dramatics. This one ends with 2 versions of the same group touring America at the same time, suing each other. The Dramatics had already survived something most groups don't come back from. In July 1967, during the Detroit uprising, members of the group were caught up in the Algiers motel incident. Their valet, Fred Temple, was killed by police. The group fractured after that, and William "Weegee" Howard came in as a replacement lead singer. So keep that in your pocket. The man we're about to lose was himself somebody's replacement. And Weegee delivered. What You See Is What You Get in 1971, top 10 pop, gold record. Then In the Rain, which went to number 1 R&B and top 5 pop. That's Weegee. That's a voice that sounds like Detroit in February. Then, at the peak, he walked. 1973, Internal friction. Him and Elbert Wilkins. Gone. Now here's the part that gets me. His replacement had already been in the building. L.J. Reynolds was a singer from a group called Chocolate Syrup. He met Dramatics member Ron Banks backstage at the Apollo on a night Ouija didn't show up. He auditioned right there, backstage, and after that, he'd occasionally sit in when the lead singer was absent. So when Ouija finally quit, there was already a man who knew all the parts. But Ouija didn't go quietly. He formed his own Dramatics. 2 Dramatics, on the road, at the same time. For 4 years, promoters booking one and getting the other, fans buying tickets and not knowing which version was walking out. It took a court battle to settle it, and when it was over, Ouija's group was forced to rename itself A Dramatic Experience. Imagine losing the rights to the name you made famous. Meanwhile, Reynolds took them into a whole second life. Hey you, get off my mountain, be my girl, shake it well. Decades of work, 2 men, 1 name, and a courtroom deciding who gets to be who. Real talk, only 9% of you are subscribed. That hurts. We're spending hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life. And if you're watching this far, you clearly care. So hit subscribe. It's free and takes 2 seconds. Now, to my subscribers, barely any of you have joined the membership. And honestly, that stings even more. You know the work we put in. You keep coming back. If these videos have ever made you feel something, if this music means something to you, join the membership. It's $1 coffee a month, and it's the only way we keep this going. Let's build this together. All right, back to it. Number 8, Atlantic Starr. This is a group where the replacement gave them the biggest song of their career, and then did the exact same thing the woman before her did. Sharon Bryant was the original voice of Atlantic Starr. 9 people out of White Plains, New York. 3 Lewis brothers at the center of it. Horns, the whole thing. Bryant carried them through the early records, and their 1982 album Brilliance went to #1 on the R&B album chart. Then in 1984, she left for a solo career. Now, a 9-piece band losing its lead singer usually means the funeral's already started. And they didn't just lose her. The lineup collapsed down to a handful of people. But they'd found a young singer from Greensboro, North Carolina, named Barbara Weathers. She'd been performing since she was 13 years old with a band called Cavacus. And the very first album she made with them, As the Band Turns, gave them Secret Lovers. Number 3 on the Hot 100, number 4 R&B, number 1 Adult Contemporary, their first real pop crossover with The New Girl. And then 1987 happened, Always. Number 1 on the Hot 100, number 1 R&B, number 1 Adult Contemporary, their only chart topper, ever. If that song played at your wedding, I don't have to explain anything else to you. You know exactly which part of the reception it was. You know who you were holding. Here's the twist, and it's a quiet one. Barbara Weathers left Atlantic Starr in 1987. The same year, Always went to number 1. She walked away at the absolute summit for a solo career, exactly like the woman she replaced. 3 years in the group, one number one, gone. Sometimes the story isn't a tragedy. Sometimes it's just a door that swings the same way twice. Number 7, the Commodores. Here's what I didn't know until I started digging. The man who replaced Lionel Richie had already replaced an irreplaceable voice once before. Let's set it up. By 1982, the Commodores were in freefall. Lionel Richie, the voice on Easy, 3 Times a Lady, still officially separated from the group to go solo. And in that same year, their manager Benny Ashburn, the man they called the 7th Commodore, died of a heart attack at 54. Guitarist Thomas McClary left too. They cycled through singers. Nothing stuck. Then in 1984, they brought in a British singer named James Dean Nicholas. JD, and this is the part. Before the Commodores, J.D. Nicholas sang with Heatwave, and he joined them after their lead singer, Johnny Wilder, was paralyzed in a car accident. So this man had already walked into one room full of grief and been asked to sing. He did it twice. Now, Night Shift, written as a tribute to Marvin Gaye and Jackie Wilson, both of whom had died the year before. Drummer Walter Orange takes the first verse. JD takes the second. Number 3 on the Hot 100. Number 1 R&B, and it won the Commodores their first Grammy. In 18 years of making records, with Lionel Richie writing some of the biggest ballads in American history, the group had never won one. They won it in 1985 with the man who replaced him. Here's what's wild. The band didn't even want it released as a single. They fought the label on it, that song, the one you've pulled over on the side of the road for, the one that comes on the car radio and you go quiet for 4 minutes. And honestly, I'll say it, Night Shift is the best song the Commodores ever made. I know that's going to bother some people. I know some of you just sat up. But it's a song about the dead, sung partly by a man who took a living legend's place. And it's the only time they ever got that trophy. Sometimes the door closing is the door opening. It just doesn't feel that way while it's happening. Number 6, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes.
Got me a lovely lady. Ooh.
This is a man who was hired to sound like somebody else, and he did the job so well that history erased him. You know Teddy Pendergrass's voice. Everybody does. If you don't know me by now, The Love I Lost, Bad Luck, Wake Up Everybody, that growl, that Philadelphia thunder. Here's the thing most people never learned. Teddy started in that group as the drummer in the backing band. He wasn't even a Blue Note at first, and when he did become the lead singer, he was replacing somebody too. By 1975, the billing had shifted to acknowledge him, but it wasn't enough. In 1976, at the absolute top, the group had just come off Wake Up Everybody. Teddy quit over money. Harold Melvin needed a lead singer. He hired a Philadelphia man named David Ebo, and Ebo could sing. But listen to what the job actually was.
more.
He was brought in specifically because his sound was close to Teddy's. He was hired to be an echo. Then the label situation collapsed. Gamble and Huff kept Pendergrass, not the group. The Blue Notes lost Philadelphia International and had to start over on a new label. Ebo's debut with them, Reaching for the World, made the R&B Top 10 in 1977. That's not nothing, that's a real record. He sang lead on 4 albums. And then, here's the part that stays with me. He was replaced in 1982, and on November 30th, 1993, David Ebo died of bone cancer. He was 43 years old. Go looking for him online. There's almost nothing there. A man who fronted one of the greatest groups Philadelphia ever produced, and the internet barely knows his name. Was it fair to hire a man just to sound like the man who left? Some people say that's the gig, that's the business. Others say it cost him his own identity before he ever got to build one.
Been a lucky fella. I've been around.
I'll let you decide which one it is. But I know this. It's a different kind of heartbreak to be remembered only as a substitution. Number 5, the main ingredient.
Everybody plays the fool.
This is the only group on this list where nobody quit, nobody got fired, and nobody sued anybody. And it's the hardest one. Donald McPherson was the founding lead singer of The Main Ingredient, an Indianapolis man who came up through Harlem.
I won't say it again. Everybody plays the fool.
They'd been the Poets, then the Insiders. Then in 1966, they became The Main Ingredient. And by 1971, they were building I'm So Proud, Spinning Around, I Must Be Falling in Love, which went top 10 R&B. Then he got sick, leukemia, fast. Donald McPherson died on July 3rd, 1971. He was 29 years old, days short of his 30th birthday. Now here's what happened next. And it's not a casting call, it's not an audition.
Now you cry, but when you do, next time around someone cries.
The man who took his place, Cuba Gooding Sr., was already there. He knew them from the neighborhood. He'd sung background on their records. And while Donald was sick, Cuba had been going out on the road, filling in for him.
Sometimes use your heart just like a tool.
So think about what that actually means. For weeks, maybe months, this man stood at a microphone, singing his friends' parts, knowing exactly why he was standing there.
Listen, baby, I never tell you so in school.
Holding the spot warm, praying he'd have to give it back. And then, he didn't have to give it back, because there was nobody left to give it back to.
Listen, baby, everybody plays a fool.
If you've ever had to keep something running while somebody you love was dying, kept the business open, kept the house going, kept showing up so nothing fell apart, you know that particular kind of exhaustion. It's not grief yet. Grief comes later. First, it's just carrying. The very next year, 1972, they released Everybody Plays the Fool, number 2 R&B, number 3 pop, 1 million copies sold.
I won't say it again. Everybody plays the fool.
The biggest record of the group's entire existence, bigger than anything they ever did with the man who founded them. That song is about surviving heartbreak, about how everybody gets knocked down and everybody gets back up.
Heaven on earth is all you see, out of touch with reality.
Sung by a man who just buried his friend and taken his job in the same year. Some of you have loved that song for 50 years and never knew what was underneath it. Now you do. Number 4, The Spinners. A group that was told flat out by the industry, without that man, you're finished. Philippe Wynne joined the Spinners in 1972, and I want you to catch this because it matters. He joined as a replacement himself when their previous lead singer stayed behind at Motown. And what he did with Tom Bell in Philadelphia is one of the greatest runs in soul music. I'll Be Around. Could It Be I'm Falling in Love? Mighty Love. The Rubber Band Man. That ad-lib style, that improvising, that voice dancing all over the back half of every song. Nobody sounded like Philippe Wynne. Nobody. In 1977, he announced he was leaving to go solo. So the Spinners went and found a singer from St. Louis named John Edwards. He was 33, and this is the smartest thing anybody on this entire list did. The group told him plainly, "We are not looking for Philippe Wynne II. Be yourself." Where Wynne was slick and sly, Edwards was enormous. A huge voice with real range. Then disco hit, and everyone wrote the Spinners off as yesterday's group. Wrong sound, wrong decade. So they made a strange bet. They handed the record to a dance producer named Michael Zager, and they cut a remake of a Four Seasons song. Working My Way Back to You, Forgive Me Girl. Number 2 in America, number 1 in the United Kingdom. Their biggest hit in years. With the new man out front. They followed it with the Cupid medley and went top 10 again. And now the part that hurts. Philippe Wynne's solo career never happened. He drifted into George Clinton's Parliament Funkadelic world as a smaller piece of a bigger machine. And in 1984, he collapsed and died right after a performance in Oakland. He was on stage until the very end. John Edwards sang lead for the Spinners for over 20 years, until a stroke in 2000 forced him to step back. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the group in 2023. He passed away in May of 2025. 2 lead singers, 2 completely different endings. One group that outlived both of them. And if you're sitting there realizing you've been singing along to 2 different men for 50 years and never noticed the switch, you're not alone. Most people never did. Number 3, The Supremes. This is the most famous replacement in the history of black music, and there's a detail in it that almost nobody knows. Number 2, The Miracles. A group replaced the man who founded it, the man whose name was literally on the marquee, and then went somewhere he'd almost never taken them. Smokey Robinson didn't just sing lead for the Miracles. He built Motown alongside Berry Gordy. He was a vice president of the company. I'm just a love machine, and I won't work for no. Shop around? Ooh, baby, baby. The tracks of my tears. That voice is the reason a whole generation understands what tenderness sounds like. He'd been saying he wanted out since 1969. It finally happened in 1972, at the end of a 6-month farewell tour. So how do you replace that? Motown auditioned singer after singer, and they found a kid from West Baltimore named Billy Griffin. He was the 60th person they brought in. 60. 59 men walked into that room before him and walked back out. And Smokey, this is the class part, Smokey introduced him personally. Brought him out on the farewell tour, put him in front of the audience himself, went on television and said, "Here's the new lead singer of the Miracles." When people said the group couldn't survive without him, Smokey's answer was basically, "Just listen." It didn't work right away. Griffin spent a year in Motown's artist development department. The first singles missed. Do It Baby finally broke through in 1974. And then in 1975, they made a concept album called City of Angels, and buried in the middle of it was a 7-minute disco track that Billy Griffin wrote himself with group member Pete Moore. Love Machine, March 1976. Number 1, the Billboard Hot 100. The top of the American singles chart, with the man who replaced Smokey Robinson singing lead on a song he wrote. 4.5 million records worldwide. If you've ever been the second choice, the substitute, the one people were polite about, you understand what that number 1 meant. And then it all fell apart. That same year, the group got into a contract fight with Motown, left the label, and never charted again. Ever. Griffin went solo in 1983 and never had a hit of his own. One mountaintop, and then the ground disappeared underneath him. Whether he ever got the credit he earned for that record, I've got my opinion. I think you probably have yours. Number 1, The Temptations. It starts with a phone call at 4 o'clock in the morning. One more time, I'm doing fine. David Ruffin was, for a lot of people, the greatest lead singer any American vocal group ever had. That rasp, those glasses, My Girl, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, I Wish It Would Rain. Beauty is Only Skin Deep. Ruffin was a replacement too. He joined in January of 1964, taking Al Bryant's spot. It's a world of love and harmony. By 1967, the trouble started. He wanted the billing changed to David Ruffin and the Temptations, the way it had gone with Diana Ross, the way it had gone with Smokey. The other said no. You can be what you wanna be. They'd made a promise to each other that success wouldn't split them into 5 directions. He started riding to shows in his own limousine instead of the group car. Cocaine came in, meetings got missed, rehearsals got missed. Then in June 1968, he skipped an engagement in Cleveland to go watch his girlfriend perform. She was Dean Martin's daughter. That was it. Listen, my father didn't know. On June 27th, 1968, the other 4 Temptations signed the paperwork and fired him. The next day, they hired Dennis Edwards. And here's the thing that makes this the number 1 story on this list. The meaning of what? He disrespected mama and treated us. Dennis Edwards and David Ruffin were friends. Around 4 in the morning, Ruffin called Edwards to tell him the offer was coming. The man who got fired warned the man who was about to take his job. From reality. That's the phone call. That happened. Edwards hesitated. Then he said he'd try out. And then Ruffin spent the next stretch of his life trying to take it back. He would show up at Temptations concerts, and the moment the band started one of his old songs, he'd jump onto the stage, snatch the microphone out of Dennis Edwards' hand, and start singing. The crowd loved it. The group hired extra security to keep him out of their own shows. Dennis Edwards' very first single with the Temptations was Cloud 9. It went top 10 pop, number 2 R&B, and in March of 1969, it won the Grammy for Best Rhythm and Blues Group Performance, the first Grammy the Temptations ever won, and the first Grammy Motown ever won, in the label's entire history.
It's a world of love and harmony.
All those hits, all those years, all those artists, and the trophy finally came with the replacement singing lead. Then Papa Was a Rolling Stone won 3 more.
You can be what you wanna be.
David Ruffin died in Philadelphia on June 1st, 1991, of an overdose. Dennis Edwards died in 2018.
We hardly had enough food or room to sleep.
2 friends, 1 microphone, and a 4 a.m. phone call that decided the rest of both their lives.
No responsibility.